All right, boom. We are live on the 100th Red Room.
Yeah, wow, we made
Let's
it.
go.
We made it.
Wow, this has been a journey. It's been fun. We started the Red Room. Luke and I were just sitting around and we're like, oh, let's, and we got the cool background because this is what we thought about. Like, hey, let's just go to a speakeasy and talk about real estate and drink old fashions. Yep. Like, that was the whole concept, 100%. Right? So, and it's been useful for our community, the Phoenix RIA, for like the Phoenix local real estate investors. So this does live stream on the Phoenix RIA, my Facebook page, Luke's Facebook page, and then our 2 YouTube channels, Just for Flips and Viking Boys. And then we got the special guest.
That's right.
Brent Daniels, yep. And we are on his YouTube channel as well. So since this is the 100th episode, and I don't think we've ever talked about this subject, what can podcasting do for your business? So, I mean, obviously we can bounce around anywhere, but we got a guy that has been on 270 podcasts with 2 missed every Monday night, right?
We missed one yesterday. I was at WWE Raw.
That's a good.
No, everybody was kind of scattered. Pace and Jamil and Jerry, everybody was busy yesterday. And I'm telling you, getting loud and having conviction about being a real estate entrepreneur. It's not just like recommended. It is, you have to do it in 2025 and going beyond that. And it might be as simple as just posting every single day to your stories. I buy houses, send me your deals.
Right.
We all know Temp has done it forever. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And he does whatever, 50 to 200 deals a year. Right. I mean, people around the country, if you just post every single day, you get your friend's account in Facebook up to 5,000 and you say, and get excited about this business, people will send you free deals. You will do 4. I will tell this to anybody, guaranteed. You will do 4 extra deals every single year for free if you post every single day that you buy houses.
I could absolutely see that.
And that's a big deal because, I mean, you do a lot of PPC as well. What does the average PPC deal cost? $2,500, $3,000?
45.
Okay, 4,500.
4,500 to $5,000 here in Phoenix.
Area? Yeah. In some other markets might be a little bit less, but in Phoenix, 4,500. So it costs you $4,500 a contract. So that's a free contract, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
I mean, you just think social media is cheap. It's free. You know, I mean, if you're obviously you can hire companies out to do it if you really want to get professional with it. But I mean, honestly, you can just go on there and just, like you just said, post on your story, just whether you're buying in a certain area or whatever it might be. All we do is we just post our deals. You know what I mean? Like we'll go in there and we'll say, hey, this is a project we're doing. The amount of deals that we get from social media, just simply saying, we have a deal.
But you're the master of it.
We have a deal in this exact same area. Would you be interested in another one? Sure would. Send it on over. So, I mean, it's like we have gotten rid of a majority of our marketing and we've literally just gone social media wise. And it's kind of insane.
Referrals.
It's
What's better than referrals?
Exactly. No, 100%. We just closed one with this guy actually yesterday on 81st. And he called me literally this morning, first thing this morning. And he said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, thanks so much for everything going so smooth. I have my father-in-law that is looking to sell his house. I just gave him your number. Told him to reach out. Told him it went very smooth. So he's going to be reaching out to you this week.
Awesome.
Right.
That's it.
So that's 2 deals and possibly the same.
Can I pull this up? Because I think that this is important for everybody to see here. This is Chris Iman over here, guys. If you don't know, an absolute legend here in the Valley, runs a RIA. Does trainings. You did one here in March. I'm just pulling this up from your Facebook account. Over the past 25 years, I've done over 12,000 deals. 12,000 deals. Right?
I don't even, it's more than that. I don't actually.
And who else can say that?
That's weird.
So what do you so give like 3 or 4 like just big rocks on what you've learned about wholesaling over the last 25 years, because there's been a lot of changes. You've seen the explosion from like 2000, probably 16, 17, really 2020 really got people into wholesaling. But for a while, wholesaling wasn't even a word we used.
It wasn't like mainstream. No one knew what it was.
Yeah, no, it was my first deals were at the courthouse, and I was a fix and flipper, and then I was buying at the courthouse I had a list of numbers that I had to dial. Hey, I bought 123 Main Street for $100 grand.
Yeah.
I'll sell it to you. I'll set up the hard money for you. I'll sell it to you for 103. Before the word wholesale was even around,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that's what I was doing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think the best thing that I can say of all my 25 years of experience is the pivots. I mean, the pivots are huge because I was just a foreclosure guy from 2000 to 2017, and the foreclosure gap just stopped. And then I was just like, all right, how do I do this? And then Jamil was probably my first. He's like, Chris, I can bring you deals. I got this agent outreach program. So then I would like sell Jamil's deals.
What year was this?
This is like 17.
Yeah.
And then, you know, his buddy Pace was a contractor, and Pace is like, I don't want to sell the deals. I'm good at getting the deals. And then can I just arrange a flat fee with you?
Right.
And then that happened. And I forget, around the same time, I gave Brent some office space, and I'm like, whatever, you set the price on the deal.
Yeah.
I'll give you the office space for free.
Mm-hmm.
If I like your number, great. If I don't, no problem.
Yeah, but you're tapped in. I mean, you're about 60 deals a month now,
Ish, yeah.
right? And all people sending them to you.
Yeah, so
you're not going direct. You're not doing the marketing.
I almost have zero direct. I've done it all. I've done the PPC. I've done the letters. I've done the cold calls.
Yeah.
But we just have so many accounts that are bringing them to us that that I don't have to do that. And then, you know, when you see the bottom line and you don't have this massive marketing spend that a lot of people have,
for sure.
40 grand.
Me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 40 to 60 a month in PPC.
Okay.
We were doing 25 grand a month in mail, and that's like been break even. So I mean, it's like we've been doing it 6 months.
Okay.
So I think going back to cold calling.
I know you did it a while.
PPC and hiring a bunch. I've talked to Carlos and Sal. They've got Call Geeks. Really impressive. Really looked at that. So that'll be something coming down the pipe. But check this out, Luke. I told you I had a surprise for you today.
Come on.
As of today, this was sent to me this morning.
Okay.
It is a judge just ruled that offering to buy houses is not phone solicitations.
Wow. That's big.
Are you guys seeing this?
About.
Guys, this is the National
about.
Law Review right here. Just came out. You can see this is Friday, June 6th. And it's just this judge.
That's
so
huge.
There's judges everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sets a some sort of precedent to be able for any defending TCPA attorneys to be able to look at this and say, hey, listen, we're not calling to offer a service. We want to give you money for your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
That's
amazing.
I feel
What
like
do you think,
whoever
Trish?
edits this need to put like a WWE slam in right
That's
now.
it. That's it.
No
Some
joke.
Johnson in the scene in the background.
Seriously, that's huge. I mean, that's all we did for years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years and years and years. And I mean, the crazy thing is, if you really think about it, I think about the amount of calls that I made over the course of, I guess, really the last 10 years now. And we were in one lawsuit over a phone call, one over 10 years. And I mean, you think about the amount of calls, that's not too bad. You know what I mean? That's not too bad at all. And when I went to court for it, the guy didn't even show up, so it got dismissed immediately.
Well, so in my cold calling, my little mishap in cold calling, if you don't register with the state of Utah and you're calling in Utah, you have to, if you're going to make an outbound call to a homeowner, you at least have to be registered. And I wasn't. So the whatever the government for Utah sent me a bill. I said,
oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was like 10 grand. It's like, you're not registered, pay $10,000.
Yeah.
I feel like this speaks to some of the adaptability that you're talking to, and the pivot though too is maybe you see this with a lot of new.
I'm going to point this right at you.
A lot of
There
new
you go.
wholesalers to where they want to do something and they want the easy fix until they meet that friction point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, I got sued, or I got this thing from an attorney and it's big and
Right.
scary, or someone made fun of me on social media, or it hasn't worked for a few months. Now what is the next big thing? Whereas if you do anything consistently, it will work. And then you have good data to work from to say, how much more how can I do this better?
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think everyone's just looking for the secret sauce. That's just with marketing, everyone's wondering, what's AI going to do? And how do I use this? It's like, well, we're all adapting to it. So
For sure.
Are you guys
pivot.
using AI? What are you using it for?
Marketing and admin.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we use AI. my daughters use AI just to do design. You can literally take a terrible wall. Like I had this 2 mirrors and it was really plain. And I make this pretty. And then they did the shelves and you could make it and she just goes to find the shelves and has little shelves and 2 little plants on it. And
so using it for design,
just go to Amazon, boom, order 2 shelves, 2 little plants, and now the master looks just like the picture.
Yeah.
There we go. That's awesome.
So real quick, 12,000 deals. How many deals?
Oh, I don't know.
How many calls? That's what I want to know. How many
millions.
calls?
Millions. Luke's, so guys, I don't know. It's been a while since Luke's been on. Well, obviously not on your show, but on my YouTube channel.
Right.
And I call Luke the best caller in the country. I truly believe he is. Wow. I think that he can cut right through everybody's force field, and he can get in with his tone and just instantly they're going to hang up on you, or they're going to stay. They're going to start answering some questions and talking to you.
Well, so speaking on that, kind of cool, but the last deal that we just got, which was on Thursday of last week.
Oh, he's got it.
So Thursday of last week we got a deal, and we ended up moving it for $55,000. And what ended up happening was the guy ended up getting calls from other people who were like, hey, I'm interested in making you a higher offer. I saw that your deal got blasted. Well, my seller ended up telling them that what he sold it to me for. And so they said, well, you just left 50, 60 grand on the table. And he called me, my seller called me, and he said, look, I just want to let you know, I've been getting blown up by other people. And I want to let you know, I know I'm leaving about 50, 60 on the table, but I'm happy to do it because I'm really happy that I'm selling it to you.
We hallucinate a lot in this business. We hallucinate and go, oh, we can't, these people can't know how much we're making, or they're going to think that we're too greedy, or they're going to be mad at the end of the day. You could disclose to them what you're making on it, and they still stay in the deal.
And I didn't do that. I didn't disclose. It ended up coming about, but I mean, it was just,
it's disclosed on the settlement statement.
Yeah, for sure. But it was a cool feel, to just know that he was still just very happy. And he's like, I gave him all the terms that he wanted, the most favorable you could possibly offer, letting him stay in for, 60 days after close, all this kind of stuff. And, but yeah, it's one of those things where it just feels good knowing that, that they're still happy about the situation and everything. So it was just a cool feel. So, but again, that's all in the delivery. Like you said, I was one of 20 people that came over. He told me that, and so we ended up getting it. So,
not everybody knows this story. So, Luke was talk to people's cold callers.
That's right. I know.
So it was a great story. We're all in the business, and we all work in the business. And Brent and I used to sell a lot of Brent's deals, and now he's off running Wholesaling and doing all the awesome studio.
Yeah.
Come on.
Among other studios.
Yeah, and then but it was really like Luke's launch. I'm like. He's like, Luke calls me. He's like, I'm going out on my own. I'm doing my own studio. I'm like, what? Great. I'll take you to a baseball game. Let me sell some deals for you. Right. But it's just kind of full circle.
For sure.
That's how it goes. Well, how important is reputation?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that are doing some rough business, right?
Especially right now.
Right.
Especially right now. When times get tough, unfortunately, that's when you start seeing the bad people coming out even more, because they're like, they get desperate. And when you get desperate, they start doing crazy things. And again, as we've seen, we've got 2 or 3 deals together where you got the craziest stuff happening. I mean, like I just said, people going behind your back, going straight up to the seller's doors and saying, I will offer you more. And we just had it happen where we're in a lawsuit now with a guy, because he's an agent, and he's a broker. He's a broker. He went behind our back and went to the seller and literally said, I want to offer you more. They ended up closing it in 5 days. And so now we're in a big lawsuit with him. But I mean, you can't do that, especially as a broker. So, but again, people get desperate. So
it's back to that $40,000 or $50,000. People don't want to spend that. They're like, if I can make a profit, and even though this looks a little shady, but I don't have they probably don't have the $40,000 or $50,000 to spend. So they just want to, keep moving up.
No,
so they just don't care about their name, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they don't last.
Yeah,
Chris, I mean, we've all been in a situation where we see people that somehow come up on our radar, and we're like, oh, okay, they're doing some interesting. Wait, what are they doing now? Wait,
Right.
what are they saying? They're coming after my deal. They're coming after your, like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're gone.
Absolutely. It's 100% what happens.
Right. So how do you build a good reputation, Luke? Like, how do you stay in this business long term?
You do what you say. You know what I mean? It's all your word. I mean, you don't screw people. I mean, I think one thing that we all see in wholesaling, far too often, unfortunately, and we've talked about this on the Red Room a few times before, is do not take somebody to the wire and then cancel and leave them with all of their stuff in a U-Haul ready to move, and they have their deposit ready to get taken from them in another city, in another state.
Yeah.
And you just say, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Here's your $1,000. Go ahead and take it. Like, that's just not ethical. It's not ethical. It's not right to do that. And unfortunately, there are so many people out there that do that. And I think that that's why a lot of crackdown has come on wholesaling, because, you had enough people complaining of that's exactly what was happening. And so, if you just don't do that practice, I mean, again, we run our numbers, our offer might be lower than a lot of other people's. It's going to be lower. Like, I'll just be very honest with you. And I will straight up tell a seller that. I will say, our offer is not going to be as attractive as some of these other offers. I'll be the first person to tell you. But the other thing that I can give you is peace of mind that I am closing on this. Yeah. There's no question about it. And so if you want to chase that extra 5K, that extra 10K, but then you think there's a chance that inside of your 15-day inspection period, they're going to cancel on day 15, that's up to you. But what I can promise you is that I have a 0-day inspection. I have 5K hard immediately to tell you that I am dead serious about buying this, no matter what. Maybe I try to move it and maybe I try to flip it. Either way, it doesn't matter. You're getting your money. You're getting to where you want to be. You're happy with it, and I'm doing good business. And that's how we've ran our business for the past 10 years, and that's why we have nothing to ever worry about.
Yeah. And then the whole wholesaling business, that the new legislation was all about that, right? Because everybody was signing a contract. They were trying to beat everybody else, beat your number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'd sign the contract, then they'd memo it, right?
Yep.
And then they'd not be able to close it, so they would just disappear, cancel the contract, but they never got rid of the memo.
Exactly.
And then they were just like, they wanted a fee to get rid of the memo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you might go sign it up, and you're like, here comes the prelim, there's the memo, and you're like, you don't really have, you got a 14-day, a 20-day close.
Yeah.
You don't have really the time frame to go legally get rid of it and tell them, hey, get rid of it. So you're just like, all right, I guess I paid the guy the $5,000. Like, unfortunately,
because it's what's best for the seller.
Yeah, right.
Because the seller at that point is ready to, they're ready. They've got so much stress about this house that they made the decision that they're going to sell it, and they want to get it done fast. They don't want a 6-month, year-long lawsuit that's tying up their house, especially if they're like having problems with payments or keeping up with it, or people breaking into the property. It's dirty.
Yeah,
it's a dirty business when you just slap a memo on, disappear, and have no intention of closing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're dealing with one where I have a memo that you just ran into.
Yeah,
we had the guy, we're ready to close, we're ready to do the whole thing. The guy needed some money to move, gave him cash up front, got him a U-Haul, and then he goes, no, I'm canceling. And then you get a call from another guy that goes, no, I've got this deal now.
Yeah.
We're like,
unreal.
So
do you?
I'm getting ready to send it out, and I like pull up, Monsoon, and I'm like, what's this agreement for sale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me click on this document. I'm like, it's got a memo from Brent.
Yeah.
I'm like, I tell the guy,
which we never do.
Yeah,
I mean, you could look at
right.
the recorded docs right now on Maricopa.gov. We never put memos. A lot of really big companies in town do it as just a part of their business.
For sure.
And we never do it unless we're giving people money. Unless we're giving people money and they're like, yeah, you give me some money and I can move and I can do all these things. But we're like, are they just trying to get a bunch of money out of these investors type of thing? So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a big thing with reputation too, to all of your guys' points, is transparency. You think that, I can do this deal and get away with it and make an extra 10K and no one will know. With social media, with those of us that have been around a long time, with all the meetups and the investor community here in Phoenix, you don't think that you can get away with one deal or do the shady business. It will come back to you it will come back to you one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
We all know each other. And I feel like with the sellers too, if you're going seller direct or working with the wholesalers, performance is such a big thing. You have to be almost over communicative. And when I was doing a lot of seller direct, I wanted to be almost over resourceful for them and say, here are your options. You might not like all of them, but here they are. Like you said, and then in those cases, they trust you, they like you. The people that come behind you might not stand a chance.
Put it all on the table. Just put it on the table and just say, this is what you got.
And I feel like being almost over transparent like that and performative with whoever you're selling or buying with goes such a long way.
No,
and keeping even the good relationships in the business. Because when I saw the memo, I sent Brent a text.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy just sent me the deal.
Yeah.
I'm sending it back to you.
Well, that's what's nice. It's easy to be able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that happens with Jack often too,
Yeah.
where I'm like, hey, you guys just blasted this one. We're actually under contract on this one. And he's like, oh, are you really? He's like, okay, let me reach back out to the person that sent it to me. And then he goes to find out that they don't even have it under contract. You know? So it's like stuff like that happens. But like you said too, though, like stuff just gets around now because of social media. I mean, somebody that I know we all love is Rich Wonders. I mean, he's been blasting people left and right, which I love. I think it's awesome.
Definitely entertaining.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But again, he's calling people out for when they mess up, and I mean, you know, more power to him because I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Holds people accountable.
Self-policing.
Yeah.
Never hurt.
That's right. What are the trends right now? What are you seeing? I mean, you're the design master. Are you doing your own flips? You just designing for flips? What are you seeing like cash buyers looking for now when it comes to us wholesalers, and how can we, make sure that we're going after the right properties?
Well, I've commented a couple of your posts too. You're like, should I do an accent wall? And we're like, we're not, do hold this and do that. And I'm like, I just want to reach out and DM you and say, please don't do that.
Right. I hope you do.
Yeah.
You reach out. That's the whole point of those. Yeah.
Maybe I should. So to answer your question, a little bit of both. And I think I really, from my perspective, have loved to see the growth that's happening on the design side.
Mm-hmm.
Although I tell my students all the time, do not fix and flip this house just to get on the next HGTV, reel.
Yeah.
This is all about numbers and profit, not about who can design the best house.
Yeah.
That being said, I love seeing that the fix and flippers that are really good at what they're doing, putting a lot more thoughtfulness into it.
Mm-hmm.
So traditional is, what we're seeing more now is just more oak cabinetry, white oak cabinetry. We can still get the wood look flooring, quartz countertops, but a lot more warmth. The sterility that we saw during COVID and fix and flippers were going nuts is all but dead.
Mm-hmm.
People just really want
to. Are you saying
feel
warmth like wood, or are you talking warmth like earth tones?
Both.
Right.
Yeah. People just
like travertine's back.
Like you've seen.
I wouldn't go that
maybe
far.
not travertine, but Saltillo does have its
Saltillo's got some pops, especially in Arizona,
especially in Spanish. But if you think of it like, people are willing to pay a premium and pay, like we see houses go a lot faster that are done really well and executed well, live staging, good photography, those sort of things. So people just want to feel good about what they're purchasing. It's still an emotional purchase, regardless of 7% interest rates. So if you were a design dummy and you just take a look around at what some of the other fix and flippers or myself are doing, you can borrow from the palette that we're doing. But people just want to feel more warmth. Organic modern is probably something you can Google easily.
Right now is the most important time to pay attention to this. When the inventory is low and you just put out a clean product, it sells.
Yeah.
Right.
When you have 26,000 units on the market,
you got to do something
Makes it a
better.
little bit harder.
You got to be more dialed in on that part of the business.
Yes.
Well, you guys remember we had like an 8-year stretch probably where it was just all grays.
Yes.
Do you remember? It was gray walls. It was the gray floors. It was gray cabinets. Like it was gray everything. And then I think that switched to all whites. And then it was all whites.
It's never been that for you.
And then
it's always been that color of your hat. Right. Yeah.
I do some crazy stuff.
You do some crazy stuff.
For sure.
The Hobbit house. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you and I think, are in the same. We've been doing this like 2004, like 99, 98,
99,
right?
Yeah.
So a long time. I love wholesaling. I love assignments.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the greatest invention that's ever hit real estate. and it's not even real estate investing. It's truly like more marketing and sales and working that. Well, we have the intention, we can close the deals, we can do that type of thing. We can cherry pick the ones that we want. But why, Chris, is it's so much better to wholesale than to flip.
Well, what's funny is like I'd say episode, call it 50 to 65.
I don't want to talk about it.
So like 50 to 65, Luke's on there and he's like, I can't wholesale. I just make too much money. And I'm just like, and I was at a mastermind just yesterday, and this guy, Mark Latour,
CG.
Yeah, CG. Mark Latour is up there. I don't know if you guys know Mark. He's in KC. And he's on the stage, and he's just like, same thing. Mark had the same thing. I'm leaving too much money on the table. If I rehab, there's a balance, because rehab is just so much cash flow, right? Yeah. And then you wholesale, and I'm listening to this guy up in Northern Arizona going like, I can't wholesale, Chris. I can't. I got so much money. I'm just flipping them. I'm making 80, and I'm like, maybe balance it out.
Right.
I think I started every episode with, maybe go 50.
Temper it a little bit.
Yeah, we went heavy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, 2021, 2021, we were heavy flipping. There was a time where we were like 40 flips going at a time.
I know.
That's insane.
I lent on most of them.
A ton of those. We were doing like 40 at a time. Our hard money at the end of every month was 6 figures, and it was like, dude, cutting that check every month. Ooh, it was not fun.
You're like dimming the lights in the background.
And at the same time, it was like you just said, it was like when you were doing, 50 to 80K rips on everything because everyone was paying over. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, Yeah. So
how important is it though, if you're going to wholesale and flip, to raise funds for that flip?
You have to,
right? You still want to go into it, no money.
You have to, absolutely.
Because I've been the guy that's like, we've got $500,000 sitting in an account. Let's just put it towards this deal, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden that deal takes 30, 60 days longer. And you need $100,000 more or whatever
for sure
in that deal.
Absolutely.
And that's your operations money.
Yep.
And that's what you're talking about, the cash flow.
Yeah, it's huge. So like I've always been a wholesaler. That's just, I didn't love the fix and flip business. It's just like, I think it's maybe I'm just a drug addict, right? It's like, get another deal.
Right.
And it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Sure. But like, I don't have that design like you guys. That's not my brain doesn't work that way. Luckily, I got AI with my daughters right now.
There you go. Yeah.
That's right. Well, I think, that natural path, though, is like you start in wholesaling. And then, like, once you kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, we got some extra funds to play with. Or it's like, you track enough properties that you did wholesale and you say what they made on the flips. And you're like, that's kind of what happens. And then, then you go from, at least what we did is we went from mainly wholesaling to mainly flipping. And then you're making double, triple than what you would make on a wholesale, given the process is a lot longer. But then obviously you have all the risk. You have all the risk for when the market drops. You have all the risk for everything. So that's when you can get caught when a market turns. So
well, to Chris's point too, I think if you can 3x whatever your normal wholesale fee is, and you can say I'm going to be in and out of this within 5 months, maybe now instead of 3 months a couple years ago. And especially if you can stick to cosmetic at first and dip your toes in the water, it's like if you guys do 10 wholesales for one flip or 5 wholesales for one flip, and you're adding and you're like, I didn't have to do 5 more wholesales in the time that I could do this one flip, but it doesn't take your gas off your main business, which is wholesaling. I do think that wholesalers should flip, but I'm a little biased. So
me too.
I think there's a balance, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like I strictly wholesale, and we all know that. Well, I think that building a house is only a couple more calls. Like it's real. Like if you're doing a full remodel, you got to do the in-ground plumbing, the concrete, and the framing. After that, it's pretty much the roof, the insulation, the drywall. It's kind of all the same thing. But the paycheck after a new build versus a paycheck after a fix and flip is completely different.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's completely different.
The way bigger. On a new build?
So just I got a project going on. Somebody, I say they were sleeping, but it was Friday Thanksgiving. A lot came up in 85254. Think I spent just over $1 million for it.
Yep.
I will do a 5,000 square foot house at $200 a foot. So call it $1 million and $1 million.
Yep.
I partner with a guy. So we each put $1 million cash. So there is no leverage. So there's no stress because there's no ticker on it.
For sure.
There's just $1 million you have laying around.
Yeah. No
How
stress.
rich are
No
you,
stress,
Chris?
though.
How rich is your dad? He's very rich, isn't he? This guy's out of control.
It's nice to have friends that say, "Oh, it's only a couple million." No stress, you guys.
See how he
no
just slides
stress.
in it?
Yeah,
Just personal
no
money.
big deal.
It was just sitting in my
It's like buying a $5
Wells
latte.
Fargo
There's no
account.
hard money on it, so you know.
But
No big deal.
with a couple, like you had to call the survey guy.
Yeah.
You did the design.
Yeah.
You got to do the footers, the in-ground pummeling, the concrete, the framing. But you know, once you're framed, you're pretty much doing the roof, you're doing the stucco, doing the windows, all the same stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing probably sells for $4 million.
$4 million.
Yeah.
So
It's a decent.
what,
payday.
that's going to be $800 a square foot. So you're building for 2, selling for 8.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, you're gonna have,
Yeah.
let's say 200 grand in what's 5% on,
Landscape?
200 grand in closing costs, agents, all the stuff, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, 200. The budget is 200 a foot, and that's landscape pool.
Wow.
That's including that.
The whole thing, yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
actually really good.
That's insane.
He knows
for
everybody.
that, for that luxury.
Jeez,
He knows
that's
everybody.
crazy.
Maybe people just need work right now, though.
Yeah.
You know, you get some good,
Yeah.
good
You're
people working
definitely
for you.
getting some better numbers than you were,
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
no
Nice.
question about it.
You know what was amazing? We were at it's the big restaurant. It's got all the bags. It's covered up right off of 7th Street in Missouri.
Culinary.
Culinary Dropout.
Yeah.
And I swear your phone went off 50 times in like 90 minutes when we were there. And you
Jack's
were just
taking that
bop,
over
bop, bop,
now.
bop, 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 right? And
Yeah.
Jack, your son, is now taking over a
Yeah.
lot of that heavy lifting, a lot of that action. But in the like prime, Chris Iman prime,
Oh yeah.
how many text messages were you getting and returning a day? Because I think this is important for people to
I
understand.
wouldn't even. So I would always make it, because I wouldn't know that number, but I would make a joke. Let's just say on this red room,
Mm-hmm.
I would, if I was back in the day and I'd say I'm going to put my phone off and we're going to do this podcast,
Yeah.
I would probably guess I would walk out of this meeting with 70 to 80 text messages.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Inbound.
Wow.
Now, in your phone, if we checked your phone right now, would it show that you have unanswered text messages
I'm at 65.
right now? Unanswered?
That's insane.
But
Is that just
but
for
do
the
you
last, like,
but do you
hour?
answer everything or do you let that pile up?
No, I answer. I
Always.
always answer my text. Anybody that
Yeah,
knows
you
me,
do. You're a crazy quick at texting.
I think this is your superpower, and you really
Yeah.
taught me a lesson because I was so used to making calls,
Yeah.
and texts were a whole different thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll get to that when I get to it.
Yeah.
But I saw how fast you were with it, and you didn't even think. You were just unconscious, and you were just doing it. You were even comping. You're like, yeah, I'll give you this much on this, right? Like you were just
You can see
rolling
it
up.
happening.
But so many reps, and so
Yeah.
the reason I say this is if somebody's starting out and they've never done a deal, and you just go on, like, again, to Facebook, friend request as many agents as you can, as many
Yeah.
people in real estate investing, anybody, go to the I love frozen yogurt in Phoenix
Yeah.
group, right? And friend request everybody, post every single day. When you get a DM, respond quickly to that
Yeah,
DM.
exactly.
If you put your phone number out there and somebody's DMing you or texting you, even if you think they're an agent, even if they work for the title company, whatever, you never know
Right.
what door that's going to open. You have to respond to your
question.
texts and DMs.
Well, it's
And people let it just pile up. And you're like, you can't do that if you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The whole you're bigger than that and you to work on the business, not in the
Absolutely
business
not.
is
Yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Dina tells a story. She's sitting in the audience, but I never turned down a coffee meeting.
Right.
Really?
I
Yeah,
never
sure.
turned down a
Okay.
coffee meeting.
Wow.
I never said no. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Tempe. I got a meeting here. And another big thing.
You got to get closer to your mic. Pull the mic closer.
Oh, sorry.
Just pull it up.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
See, he's
There
a
you go.
podcast expert.
Well, Luke's texting me in the back.
Yeah.
I had to
So-
check my
Not
text. I
me.
was like, oh, he's got 65. I wonder how many I have. 3.
So
Boys.
one of the big things that I kind of learned way before podcasting is I would do lunch and learns especially
Yeah.
post financial crisis.
Mhm.
I was teaching a foreclosure class, and I was like, realty executives, homes, anybody that would let me teach about foreclosures. I probably did 1,000 lunch and learns
Wow.
for Fidelity Title. I think I was on a week west side, east side, everywhere.
Right.
But that was just.
But you were grabbing buyers.
Yeah, 100%. I was
Right?
grabbing buyers. Yeah. And I actually built a little program to where if you lost the short sale, we charge you 3% to go purchase it. Like, you know, how many people like had their offer in, they'd already done their inspection, they had their appraisal, and something went wrong with the negotiations and the house went to, so I was literally just, I'll buy it for 200. I'll sell it to you for 206. They already had the appraisal. If they had everything set up at title, I'd literally just throw it back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
I think that always speaks to, it's going to take more work and more reps and a little bit more time and effort than a lot of people give credit to. But we don't want to always blast that, especially on social media, because then people wouldn't want to do the work as much. I'll speak, and probably for the same that you guys think too, I kind of enjoy that dirty work a little bit because it's almost like you have something to prove.
Yeah.
And then when it starts to pop off, there is a barrier of entry into this business. Topically, there's not. You could be anyone off the street. We could go grab someone off of Thomas and bring them in here and teach them real estate. But the barrier to entry, I think, is working through that friction, getting through those reps, and then starting to become a little addicted to it. Like, I'm still on job sites sweeping up. Like, I'm not too good for any part of this business. I'm happy to jump into, but I actually love this. I enjoy it. I will continue to do this. And I think it just, all of us sitting at this table have a certain dedication and probably addiction to this.
How fast do you get back to people?
I'm pretty quick. I mean,
up until what time? Like you're somebody texts you at 9:47 on a Thursday night.
It depends on the context. So I have contractors hours for the most part. So I'm up early. So if anyone texts me early, I'm always texting back.
What time do you get up?
I wake up around 6-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 a.m.
What about you guys?
6. Like
6?
6, yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
7 in the summer. 6:30 in
Not
the
earlier in the summer?
That's
okay.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But most of the time I get back really quickly. So
Well, I mean,
so
Jack's taken over on Chris's side. So if you try to go, so for those of you that don't know, Jack is Chris's son. So if you try to go grab drinks or lunch or anything with Jack, first of all, he's got ADD, which I do too, but his is bad.
I got it.
I think we all do.
You'll sit there and you try to have a conversation with him and it's just like this.
Oh,
make him repeat
on his
stuff.
phone. On his phone.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's constant. It's we've talked about it. He told me I think 2 weeks ago, I think he said he comps about 70 to 80 homes a day.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
Full comp.
I
Full
mean,
comp 70 80.
so-
you've been doing that for 20 years.
So let's pivot the conversation, I think, because I want to go back to the original, because I actually saw Pace on Steve Trang's podcast that rolled through yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think the question was who in the business that he had seen really grow the business, and the wholesale business is what he was referring to. And he referenced Jamil, but he said Jamil, but only because he's got Josiah and Hunter in the background, right?
Sure.
So the wholesale business is, you're in the business. But I had a different one. I thought about the question. I was like, if you look at the people on the wholesale hotline, all wholesalers started all as wholesalers, right? Jerry, Pace, Jamil, you. Now, I can text back as fast or as well as anybody out there. But if you look at the four of you guys on the wholesale hotline, back to the podcast and back to leveraging social media,
Yeah.
that is really the answer to getting big in this business. It's not actually the wholesale business. I mean, the wholesale business can only get you so big.
Yeah.
Even Keegley, which was a wholesaler, but then they franchised, right? Which helps. And then Joe the home buyer, right? You mentioned that they're franchising, but that gets them in multiple states. I work with a guy that is moving to different markets. But past the wholesale business, which is still a business that you have to work, right?
Yeah.
And you could, like, to your point, you can't really step away from it.
Right.
Like if you went for 6 months and left your wholesale business, what would it look like when it come back? And you hired.
Oh, they don't want me in there. No.
No.
I'm a few hours in my wholesaling business now,
Okay.
and I usually screw it up.
Okay.
I'm usually the one. Yeah, I get freaked out. About. I mean, I don't want to. Let's stay on this vein, and then we'll.
But
we'll
let's
go,
just talk about like really the way to leverage and get further down this road is podcasting, social media,
media.
all the different stuff.
I think, Chris, I think you figured it out. I think you guys are just natural at it. But I think, you get to a certain point and you understand that there's no like financial legacy. We can elevate our kids up, right? Or our family up, or the people around us up. We could, like a financial baseline from here to here. We could do that, and that helps it out. But there's not, the legacy thing, like that's gone after a couple generations. I truly think that there's part of us that we're just natural teachers. And you have to, like, the natural teacher part comes out after you get to a point where you can pass off a lot of the day-to-day activities in your business. And once you get to the point where you can teach, but you've earned the right to teach.
Right.
There's the problem, because a lot of people want to start out and do the teaching part, which is great. They're regurgitating what they're learning from people that have been in the business for a long time, which is fine. But then they don't do any business.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they have to go back to like, they get real, it's like start and stop when with the amount of content that they put out, because they have to go back to work.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
But if you have that, like, the only legacy we really leave is what we teach the next generation and how that affects. We'll never know who watches this, does a deal, their kids see it, their kids do deals 100 years from now, or whatever. Who knows? We'll all be cyborgs. Nobody knows. But that's really the to do it for a long time and really have the conviction to do it. You have to be a teacher. And if you're not a teacher, just do content to get deals. Just do content to get deals. Send me your deals. There's plenty of people that do that too. So there's two ways about it. You can go and teach and do that type of thing, and build a tremendous amount of referrals, because a lot of people know, like, and trust you. And they're like, hey, Chris wants to buy my deals. For sure. Luke wants to buy my deals. Tracy wants, right? You go out there and you just tell them, I'm a flipper. I'm a wholesaler. I don't want to do social media. I don't want to be on podcasts and do all that type of stuff. I just want to be loud and tell everybody I buy houses.
For sure.
That's it. But either way, you have to get loud.
Yeah.
Either way. And if you're okay not teaching and you're in that hustle season, just be loud about wanting to buy houses. It's awesome.
Well, and what I'm hearing you say repetitively, without saying the word, is authority.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up as a figure in the ecosphere of whatever your niche is. And for all of us, that's real estate investing, wholesaling, teaching, fix and flip, whatever. But regardless, being loud about it, like you're saying, already sets you up as an authority. Hopefully you do know what you're doing and you're continuing in the business and just showcasing, hey, this is what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And then by virtue of just showing up, you're developing a connection with people. Like, I am the opposite. When people say, hey, can I get a one-on-one coffee meetup with you? That is like the antithesis of what I want to do with my time. But I love connecting with people. So in a way that I know how to do it best, that I feel like I'm most authentic, that's pouring in through social media and through teaching. But I waited 9 years fixing and flipping before I even started flip school. And I still felt like, am I qualified to do this? And since then, it's been 3 years now. This is our best year yet. It continues to grow. But, I like how you mentioned having a teacher's heart. But if you were, for anyone listening that is thinking like, I can't do social media because I'm not good at it, it's not you being good at social media. It's you being consistent and showing up, being authentic, and then showing that you're putting in the work and continuing to grow. If someone next to you is doing the same thing and never putting it on social media, who do you think they're going to refer to when they're like, hey, I need to sell this house? The guy that's been talking about it for the last 5 years and only missed an episode for a WWE match, or
understandable.
It was awesome.
Or the guy that never says
with
anything.
those guns, you could try out. Like,
I felt like I could do it. You see it in real life. You're like,
what would your character be though?
I don't know. Something crazy. A rhinoceros.
There we go.
Can you read that and answer that? This is
I
from
am
Teresa.
noticing some legitimacy concerns when I don't put down EMD. What if I put at least $150 down as I wait for the buyer to put the full EMD down when I reassign? Thoughts? Can I ask? Hard money loan for EMD. My honest opinion on that, Teresa, is that $150 is not realistic. You got to keep money because you're buying a house. You know what I mean? So you start talking about putting down $150 to a seller, that doesn't mean anything to them.
What if she's in a small market?
I still think even in a small market, I think 150 is too small.
Okay.
That's my honest opinion. You guys can tell me yours, but
we use the $5,000 just as like to set us aside from everybody else. It's $5,000. Like, and if it's a big property, it's $10,000. Like if it's over 500 grand, but we want to set our offer different from everybody
You want
else's.
to look serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jalabi 99 said preferably 100 or 500 to 1,000. I mean, that's better.
They said,
for
as
sure.
soon as I sign the contract with the seller, I take it to title and drop $100 at least earnest money deposit. Shouldn't have to wait for your cash buyer. Got to show the seller that you're serious. The other thing is, Teresa, it depends on what the sellers are asking for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't know what earnest money is, or they don't know to ask for it, or whatever else, they should probably have an agent represent them so that they have some guidance there. But if they don't, people get away with $10, $50, $100. I think that I 100% agree with you guys. I think it should be at least 1,000. And what I would say, Teresa, is if you don't just have $1,000 laying around for different deals, it could be 5 deals a month. You could have $5,000 tied up in that. Find a money partner. Find somebody and that's just the first little nibble of a relationship that you can have with raising funds is $1,000 or $500 or $5,000 or 10 to put as earnest money. But if you bring good deals, if you find good deals, you will not have any problem finding money.
But Brent, where do you find the people to give you that $1,000? Where would you find them at?
Friends, family, anybody, social media,
meetup
groups.
And how would they know that you're interested in maybe trying to find that money?
Right.
Gotta get loud.
Right.
You gotta get loud, baby. Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
But if you're in a small market, I think that works. But if you're in a competitive market like Phoenix, like if you think you're the only person going to the door,
right?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, maybe we're a Guru Central, but you're not the only person going to that door. I think you gotta set yourself aside.
Yeah. Major markets for sure. You're not putting $150 down in San Diego. Or Seattle or
So I mean, just for example, when I go on my appointments, I'll be very honest. I always ask the seller to provide me with any other contracts they've been given.
There you go.
And then when they show them to me, I just destroy them.
Well, how? So let's play this.
Yeah. So
let's play this. So I put a purchase agreement. It's $150,000. I'm putting $1,000 earnest. I have a 10-day inspection period, and I want to work with Fidelity Title.
Yeah. So the things that
how are you going to beat that?
Things I'm going to say is
it's unstoppable,
right?
Or is it?
Or is it?
So then I would take a look at it and I would say, I'm just gonna be very honest with you. This person's putting down $1,000 earnest. We put down $5,000 non-refundable. Theirs is
you up the earnest.
Up it, yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna say, in your opinion, who seems more serious about it? Somebody putting down $1,000 that's saying a 10-day inspection period. So then what I'll say is this person is most likely going to take this contract, try to sell it to some buyer like myself, and if they can't find a buyer for this contract, then they're going to cancel. They're going to get their $1,000 back, and you're sitting there stuck in the mud like where you were before. So I'm going to say mine would say $5,000 non-refundable. I would have a 0-day inspection period, which means that me walking the house right now, it's done. That's my inspection period. I'm already approving of the property. I'm already saying I'm good to go. So I am, in my eyes, and this is what I'll tell them, I'm a serious buyer. This person is not a serious buyer. This is a person who's trying to wholesale it. They're trying to make some quick money. They're going to sell the product. They're going to hand this contract off to me with pictures that they took today. And if I'm not interested and they don't find somebody who is interested like myself, they're done. And then you're coming back to me in the first place.
How often do they give you the contracts?
Pretty often.
Pretty often.
So
is that cute baby face?
No, this only happened yesterday.
I think so.
Now I have to see what's going to happen with the beard gone.
Is the mustache new?
No. But it was always just the beard too.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
You took off 10 years.
I know.
You look amazing. I have 6 things that you mentioned that are points of negotiation when you're sitting down with the property owner. Number 1, price.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're competing on price. Are you the highest or lowest, or you the same, right? If you're the same or lower, well, then you got to negotiate one of these other 5 items. Right. Earnest money.
Yep.
And how that earnest money is is deposited, right? Yeah. Is it 1,000? Is it 5,000? Right. Is it non-refundable? Is it contingent?
Right.
Right. That which leads us to the third, which is inspection period.
Yeah.
Or contingencies.
For sure.
Right. Are you doing an inspection? Is there no inspection? What's going on there? Guys, these are the knobs that you have to play with when you're negotiating a purchase agreement with an agent or with a property owner.
Yeah.
Next is the closing date. Well, I can close this tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can close it in 3 days. We lost a deal to Doug because Doug was able to close a deal they locked it up Friday. It closed Monday.
Wow.
Jeez.
I don't even know how the title company did that. They were like
There must not have been an
crazy.
HOA or anything.
With an HOA.
Wow.
With an HOA.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
That is crazy.
so closing date plays into
it
it.
was free and
Next,
clear.
one thing that you hit on, exit strategy.
Right.
I'm going to buy it and I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to sell it.
Yes.
They're going to take
They
this
love-
and try to
Your
sell
seller
the purchase
loves
agreement.
to hear that.
Right.
They love to
because
hear
they
that you're
have
buying
some
it.
sort of pride,
Yes.
right? Especially if it's an inherited property.
Yes, exactly.
If it's grandma's house
Oh yeah.
that the kids were
They
raised
don't want
there,
to go
the
into anybody.
grandkids
Yeah.
got Starburst every time they went over there and hot tamales and they were
Oh,
having a great time.
I
and
want to
Skittles.
go.
Starburst
Yeah, right?
hot
Yeah,
tamales.
And then-
Where's
That
his
was my
house?
childhood.
What was the address?
Yeah, right. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's something there that they go,
Right.
I really like what you do, and you're like, look at all these
For
these
sure.
properties that I flipped. Look at all the money
For
I
sure.
put into them,
For sure.
the pride I put into
Not
them.
just a piece of meat.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
It's not going to be just some
For sure. Yeah.
lazy
that you
remodel.
as the buyer take pride in it.
And then the last one I think is proof of funds.
Mm.
Right? Did they show you that they could
That
actually
doesn't
buy it?
happen super often. I'll be
It doesn't.
very honest.
That's why I put it 6.
Very rarely.
I did.
Very rarely do people ask for proof of funds. But I think it's all in how you carry yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like if you carry yourself very confident that you know what you're talking about, they just trust that you have the
Right.
money. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to. I think if you were like shaking and you were like stuttering a lot and you didn't, you know what I mean, and you kind of came across like you were, not real professional, then yeah, maybe they're going to ask you about that, But I think that when you carry yourself like you've been doing this for a long time, that's not even a concern.
Well, especially the questions that or the points that you're making. If you're explaining to the person, oh, is the next guy is his is his EMD refundable? Is it this
Right.
much? Is it that much? Like, how does this work? The
Right.
sellers aren't even going to know to ask that. So if you're
I
taking
know.
the time to be
Coach them
and transparent and give them, I think you said earlier, give them that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Why do I need to find a proof of funds? This guy Luke seems to know what he's talking about. He's
For
given me
sure.
this information. These other people didn't. So
Yep.
I just want that peace
Yep.
of mind.
Exactly.
I think that
no.
helps with your conversion rate a ton.
Absolutely. And another thing, back to the price point of that, is that I think that a lot of times, when I go on an appointment and they come, I'll say like, what are your offers coming in at? What do you have numbers at already?
Mhm.
And let's just say for the sake of this conversation, let's say, well, first things first, you need to know where you're at. You need to know before you even go on that appointment, you should have a pretty good general idea of where you need to come in. You know what I mean? Within 30 to 50 grand for
Mhm.
sure. Like, and if the house is completely trashed, then you're, at the bottom of it. If it's completely renovated and whatever, then you're at the top of it. But you should have a really good idea. So when I go into an appointment, I'll have a really good idea of where I need to be. Like I'll be like, okay, this is probably my bottom number and this is probably my top number. So when I ask them what the other offers have come in at, and they end up telling me these high numbers, right? Like let's say it's on the higher side of the scale. I'll straight up just tell them like, hey, like that number is not realistic.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll know for myself if it makes
Yeah.
sense or not. And I'm like, that number is not realistic. Unless this person is going to buy this to live in it, that number does not make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they're giving you this number to lock you up. And then they're going to probably try to hit you with a price reduction because that number doesn't make sense.
Yeah. You're buying it for X. You got to put this much into
Right,
it.
yeah.
You got to pay this much in commissions.
Exactly.
There's no way.
And then
they
if
can
you're
do
like,
it.
well, how do you figure? You just say, well, you need a new roof, you need new windows, you need a new AC unit. You have a full renovation. Your pool needs to be completely redone. You add those things up. This is not a deal. If it can't be an investor because that number doesn't make sense, And so I'll straight up tell them that. I'll say that's why I'm right here. But what I'll tell you is my number is not going to move. That's my number, and that's what my number is. And so they're going to hit you at this 470, and then they're going to say, hey, it's actually 450, and then 2 days before closing, still couldn't move it. We're at
Right.
430, so they put you in a tough spot. And so, that's another thing that we hit on.
And that's what makes your guys' show so compelling. Like seeing your calls on social media,
Yeah.
And seeing your guys' podcast too. It's just really compelling when you're having that ground. What would you call it in wrestling, where it's just like a little bit
Ground and pound.
ground.
Yeah.
Maybe we come up with a nicer vocabulary when we're talking about seller direct. But essentially doing that, like,
Right.
when you're conversing
You're the one that
with your
brought it
seller.
up.
rapport building.
I'm so
ground and
glad we're
pound.
live right now. This is amazing. But when you're discussing it with people like that,
Right.
it's just really compelling to hear people's objections, and they're
Yeah.
just so stuck in their head about this,
Right.
and you being transparent. And like, the more confident you are, I just think it's like, this is it. I can assure you of this, but
Right.
that's where it is.
One, I can't tell you how often that when you have that conversation and they still just say, hey, no, I'm moving forward to this conversation. And you just say, listen, you have my phone number.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Give me a call when they cancel.
We've got more
And I'll say,
second.
I pray that they do not cancel on you, because that is a fantastic offer. And I want you to get the most for your house, because I want you to be in a good situation.
That's it.
But if for some reason they don't move forward, which they won't, then give me a call. Give me a call.
Let me ask you this. Why this might hit our souls a little bit, but why are agents, for the most part, fine if you take a property, fix it up, sell it, make $150,000? Okay.
Yep.
And I assign a deal for $150,000, and they call my deal equity stripping, and they call your deal awesome for HGTV.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's because mentally they see, well, this person put work and effort into
Right.
getting it to that point.
Okay.
And it took them 6 months.
And there's risk.
risk.
Okay.
That's what I think is the only
The
difference.
value.
But
of
how do
some
you feel
sorts.
making 150 off of an assignment?
Oh, I mean, I still love it, but obviously I'd make sure that, that although,
But the
I'm only
optics are
going down
rough.
I will say,
That's
The optics are
that's
rough.
the word.
I mean,
is the optics.
I mean, tell me about it.
But
Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel like a lot of agents feel entitled. And
Okay.
I feel like with how much the trajectory of home prices have gone up, even over the last decade, it's getting harder to justify, in my humble opinion, that the large majority of agents earn what they earn because they can put little to no effort in and earn the same paycheck as someone that did hustle for 6 months, is really amazing at their job.
Mhm.
And yet we don't try to over negotiate with like, well, you're brand new versus you're going to make my life a lot easier. But that
Yeah.
being said, I do think that if you haven't been through a fix and flip or wholesale, you don't have any justification to be able to put that the onus on like, you deserve this versus you don't.
Mhm.
But they don't see the $50,000 in marketing spend.
Sure.
That's
Very
it,
true.
right?
Sure.
they
Very
just
true.
they just don't see it,
100%.
right?
Right.
They haven't actually lived in this side of the business.
Precisely.
They just get their commission check.
Yeah.
They don't know what the marketing spend looks like, the
Yeah,
systems, the follow-up calls.
I thought you
Like-
just called me randomly.
Well, I think the
No, not really.
Got heard one day.
I think the big thing
you
is
just randomly dialed my number in, right?
who determines value.
Yeah.
Who determines value in a deal?
Unfortunately, appraisers do.
Right?
Those bastards on the sale.
No, but I
We've been
mean,
getting smoked on appraisals.
if your grandma in
No,
Prescott
yeah.
sold her house to somebody, didn't tell you about it, and you saw what she sold it for, and you're like, Grandma, you could have made
Yeah.
150,000 more if you just
Right.
would have put it on the market. What are you doing?
Right, right.
Would you feel like your grandma got scammed by the person that went to her house and locked it up 150,000 less than you thought she could sell it for on the market?
I think because of what I do now,
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, a person is good at what they do.
But is that
Yeah.
yeah?
No, I mean, I'd be like, that's, but again, I'm in this line of business. I think
Yeah.
any other person is gonna be like, yes, absolutely. And that's when you get those calls from a daughter or son. You just signed my parents' house up for, whatever. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, those happen,
But I'm always telling my students in flip school, like you cannot put yourself in the position of the seller and think like, well, I would never do this. And so they wouldn't do this. And so I'm going to be really afraid to make this offer or stick at my number,
Yeah.
because if you haven't been in that situation, you don't understand what that pressure feels like, which I think is even more important for us as professionals to say, you do have options. You don't have to use me. You could fix this up yourself. You could
Mhm.
declare bankruptcy. You could do foreclosure. You could list
Yeah,
this. Here
yeah.
are your options. I feel like no matter what, ethically, I provided them with every option that they could do. Now, if they still choose to do this, and then afterwards, you've seen this all the time, their body posture changes. They take a big sigh of relief. They're like,
For sure.
Luke has got this. The guys have got this. Then I sleep really well at night,
Yeah.
knowing like I'm putting in the effort ethically and business
sure.
wise and professionally to justify it. But it's difficult because you can't always think like, well, I would never do that, or why did grandma accept that? Because you're not grandma.
Yeah.
You weren't in that stressful
Yeah.
position knowing that a signature could take this all away. And that extra 50 or 60 that they left on the table with your story is nothing compared to the stress that they're feeling.
For sure. And I think you brought up a good point too of even just saying like, hey, if you're not comfortable with this, like, you go ahead and run the renovation and let me know how it goes or what you think. Because it's like when you actually put the ball in their court, it's like they're like, no way in hell, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Because the other thing that people don't understand flip wise is that, you know, when you've done it for as long as we've done it for, you've also put the time and effort and money into building your relationships with your contractors, with your vendors. You know what I mean? Like no one off the street just goes and gets the flooring that we get for $1.50 a square foot. No one off the street goes and gets, you know, full sets of cabinets and kitchens for $3,300. I mean, you know what I mean? They don't. You go to any, you know, home renovation company that you're going to try to get the exact same deal for, not deal, but the exact same cabinets for, you're looking at 15 grand to renovate that kitchen. So, I mean, it's like, you know, they also don't understand, like, not don't understand, but like you can make it clear that the time and effort that you've put into your business, that's what allows you to be able to make the money that you make. You know?
I got that question yesterday. It was like, hey, do you ever put a budget on your wholesale deals? And I'm like, no, because that first guy flipping that house, his budget's not even going to be close to what mine would. Not even close. Not even in.
For sure.
Because, I mean, I might be able to do, let's just say basic $20 a square foot, paint, carpet, replace the kitchen and the bathrooms. You know, nothing.
When you say the budget, put the budget, you're saying when you market a deal, you say this house needs $60K work. That's what you mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just because, like, I think I'm not moving a wall. I'm not moving electric, plumbing. I can do the kitchen, bathrooms, paint, carpet, $20 a square foot. Yeah. Someone new to the business, they go to a contractor with a GC and all that.
Pay like double.
Yeah, they could be at 40 to 50 in a minute.
Yeah.
So exactly.
I mean, contractors.
Easy.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true.
So we I got a small story about COVID. Like we bought a house in the Bahamas during COVID, and our little place is right here. But there's a nice little place called Baker's Bay right here. Drew Brees has a house there. Okay. Warren Sapp, Tom Brady. That's awesome. So like when after the hurricane came through, it was like, hey, can we get some repairs done? Electrical bid. There's a 3,000 square foot house.
Oh man.
$85,000
to rewire it.
To rewire it.
Here, that's like 15, maybe 20.
But like, he's like, what do you want me to do? Tom Brady will pay that.
Yeah. Well, Tom Brady, am I?
Luke, do you remember that time the guy you locked up a deal? This is years ago, so I'm gonna dig deep into that recesses of your mind. The dude that literally was like, "Hey, pay me what I bought it for in the night." Will you tell that story? Will you tell that story?
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy's name?
I don't remember his name, but I remember that deal.
Yeah. You signed it up right on his truck.
It was like a 0.4 acre lot, Central Phoenix.
Yep.
Cute house, needed everything.
It was a rental.
Older gentleman. I went there and talked with him for an hour and a half, walked the property, but like, you know, had good conversation with him just about life. You know what I mean? What a lot of people don't do.
Right.
What his plans were moving forward and everything. And I think he bought the house for like, you know, $130 or something like that. And he owned it free and clear. But at the end, so, you know, at the end on, you know, the appointment, we went outside and so I was like, yeah, well, you know, let me kind of talk to my partner. We'll kind of get back with a number for you. And I remember thinking like, okay, you know, it's going to be a good deal. And then he goes, you know, Luke, I really enjoyed my time with you. And he's like, I do well. I don't, this house is just one of my houses. It's not a big deal for me. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll sign your contract right now if you just give me what I paid for the house.
Oh my God.
He bought the house.
Did you look for the candid camera?
Yeah. And I was like,
the next question is, when did you buy the house?
Yeah. And
do you know what this guy said?
It was like, I think it was like 1970 or 80.
1996.
Okay, 96.
96. And this
was it a rental?
Yeah.
So he made all this cash
flow. This is 2015-ish.
Yeah, probably 15.
And the guy's like, you pay me what I paid for in 1996 and it's yours.
Yeah.
And it was like 135,000.
Yeah.
And we sold it to him for 170,000.
Wholesale dreams are made out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it was like one of those moments where I remember literally leaving and calling Brent and being like, yeah.
No, Luke always messes around. This is Luke. I think I got a good deal.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure. Can you run the numbers for me? I was like, yeah. I'm in front of my computer. He's like, 2146 Flower or whatever. I was like, east or west? East. Okay. Jeez. It wasn't that, but, and you're like, yeah, guess what I got it for? And I was like, look, I don't know. Why you messing with me?
220?
Yeah. 220 to 135. And I was like, yeah, but I'm telling you, you don't, the interesting thing is if you go in, and I think you do a really great job at this on appointments. My acquisition team does a really good job. What is your goal?
Right.
That's the question that we have to find out from the seller, from the property owner. What is your goal?
Yep.
If their goal is to get full retail value, fantastic. Here's a great agent. Go talk to them, do your thing, go bananas.
Yep.
Get a budget to fix up a little bit here and there and do your thing. Is your goal, oh, I want this property gone now. I don't want to spend any more money.
Yep.
And I need it. I need all the money out of this in a week.
Right.
Yeah.
That's speed and convenience.
Yeah.
Or if they want speed and convenience, they have to work on our price.
Or is it, hey, I don't know where to get started with all my stuff in here, but I need it all in this city within a month. Yeah. I don't know what to do though. I'm not able to move this stuff. I don't have anybody that can help me. Okay, well, we can handle that too. Because I mean, it's, it's like you said, there's different triggers for every person. Yeah. And for us, what we do is, I'll know the trigger on the phone before I even go to the house. Because exactly like you said, if it's price, I'm not going to be your guy. And I'll straight up tell them that on the phone. I'm saying, hey, if price is the most important thing for you, which it is for 95% of people, but if that's the most important thing for you, I'm not your guy. I'm an investor. I don't buy houses to buy them. Like I have to buy a house to make money on it. Yeah. So, if that's not a good, fit for you, then there's probably really no reason for us to keep talking. And usually that's, like I said, that's how 95% of the calls
do you go through the whole house first, or do you sit down and
There's no point. I don't want to waste my time. Right. If they're like, because the thing is, a lot of times when you call, PPC, PPL leads, what they do is they just come in and they, this is my 10th call. If you don't got 675, no point in me talking to you. And you're like, okay, this guy, I'm not going anywhere with this guy. You know what I mean? Like it's like the house is worth house is worth 600. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, well, you're not going to sell your house, are you? Because it's like, so I mean, that's that conversation. But I mean, it's the ones where where you either get the number out of them and it's not some absurd number, or they say that price is not their main factor.
No, but what I'm saying is when you go on appointments, how are you building such deep rapport with these people that they spend 90 minutes with you, as opposed to, people coming over and they're like, I got to get this guy out of my house as quick as possible. He's just give me a bid. You know what I mean? Like
it's all
contract
based on that phone call before. You know what I mean? You have that phone call, and I think the question that nobody ever asks on that phone call, which is why nobody ends up having these long conversations and building rapport with them, is, what has you interested in selling? Why are you selling? Rather than just coming in and saying, what price do you want and how fast you're trying to close? Like, what is your, you obviously not saying pain point, but ultimately that's what it is. Yeah. Why are you trying to sell the property? What's your goal? Exactly.
We literally ask them that. What's your goal with this property?
Let me ask you guys this. Do you feel like the younger people that are getting into wholesaling are just about the numbers?
100%.
And so they're having to use things like memos because they don't develop rapport. And so inevitably, when other people that come along and educate them a little bit more, maybe give them a better price, can easily convert them, versus they just have a quota. They want to post their new rented Lambo on Instagram. Do you feel like the nature of that has changed a little bit?
I personally think that the hardest thing is that the young people right now that come in, they want to just get the deal. It doesn't it's like just get the deal under contract. So, and then the problem is that what we've already talked about, but they're too quick to move to option number 2, which is a price reduction. And they're like, let me just get it under contract. I'll lock it up too high, but then I can always hit them with the price reduction. Where it's like, that shouldn't even be in your vocabulary right now. It just shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, unless something drastic, it should be an absolute.
Yeah, but every other buyer does that.
So Brent's coach,
right? When you go to buy a house in this market right now, you don't think that during the inspection the buyers are coming at you to lower the price?
There's no question about it.
So Brent's outcoached all of us. So how many people the sales process and the sales coaching, I feel like, and I've done some coaching and I can criticize myself. I'm not good at that process.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So a lot of times I'll actually bring somebody else in. I'll bring one of my acquisition guys in.
Sure.
I'll bring in someone like that.
Right.
But I feel like, and even my personality doesn't lend itself to that. And then, obviously you go to a mastermind and they can take the DISC test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it'll
Do you guys know what you are?
I don't know what I am, but I know that, what is it?
The driver?
The I and the C or whatever.
Yeah.
DIC.
Yeah.
DISC.
But like, you can pretty much pick if you're going to have that sales skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just think that's in the time I've spent, like you obviously have it. I don't, right? So that's why I've never done the acquisitions.
Yeah.
That's why when I first got into the business, I went foreclosure, because it's a real simple thing.
Right.
You look at the house, it's a number, it goes to auction. I don't have to go to the door.
Yeah, but I would argue that you're a lot better at sales than you think, because you're very fast at response.
Well,
Like, that is a huge part of the skill in it. And you're selling to you're already selling to, you're better at, you do acquisition. You've done acquisitions for years, just not direct to the property owner.
right.
You've done it from other wholesalers.
Right.
So because you've got a reputation, and because you're 7 foot 8 foot tall, everybody's like, I know this guy, right? I mean, let's be honest. And so they know who you are. They know that you sell a lot of deals. You have a presence in the industry, and so you're just playing quarterback with all the cash buyers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but not the
being direct
in the living room.
In the living
It's a
room.
different
You're just
sales.
not gonna connect with like emotional buyers. You could connect with emotional buyers. You're a numbers guy.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
gonna connect with the sellers who
Yeah.
are numbers people, which are wholesalers.
Yeah.
So you are a salesperson.
For
just
sure. Just a different.
the right
Yeah.
niche, right?
Yeah.
The kids who learn this business from some guy standing in front of a rented Lambo on TikTok are a large part of the problem. They can be. I mean, it's been a lot less. I mean, the stats that batch leads did, they spent a ton of money. It was anywhere between I think 70 and 90,000 wholesalers in the United States in 2021.
Wow.
Now there's 12 to 15.
12 to
Really?
15.
Yeah.
There was
So-
70 to 90.
Yes.
And it's gone down
12
by
to 15.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody
Six
went.
multiple.
Everybody's doing
Gone.
solar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Door
That-
knocking is big right now.
Right.
Back to Chris's point though about the whole conversation starter with social media though, if people had watched you over the last 6 months or 12 months or 2 years, whether they're a coaching student or a seller or whatever it is, your conversion rate is going to go through the roof. I mean, arguably, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, a good, decent conversion rate is probably 30-40%. I think if you are on social media quite a bit, people are ready to say yes. They just need you to answer a few particular questions personalized to them. So it's like, it just makes it so much easier. So if you're wondering like social media isn't worth it, like how does it feel to go to the door and have a 50% or 60, 70% conversion rate because you put 6 months of social media in where they were watching you versus having to be the next guy at the door and they don't know you from Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of your sellers have seen you on social media, have they?
I've had a couple.
Really?
Yeah, but it was after. It was after they looked me up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more the agents.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's the agents
sure,
that bring
for
the
sure.
referrals. They're like, oh, this guy buys properties
Which I'm
in this
happy.
area. Let me sell it to him and get both sides, right?
For
Yeah.
sure.
You know what I mean?
That's-
Then because I've done, I've spent millions in Facebook ads and done a lot of YouTube and all that stuff. I don't think we've had one property owner on that Red Rock, the one that you staged, that was multiple offers first weekend, by the way, in this weekend. Okay,
Nice.
so things are still selling if you put them at the right price.
Yeah.
And you have Sage stage them,
Right.
which everybody wants to buy the furniture every time. It's like, guys,
Nice.
it's a staging company. Talk to them. I don't know. But it's I've had one person that go, oh, this Instagram influencer is buying the house.
Oh,
what is
how
going
fun
on
is
here?
that?
But your social media is
In thousands of deals.
is for
Yeah,
coach
yeah.
or for students. It's not necessarily towards sellers.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
That's
I
what I
don't.
mean, like-
I don't think. Yeah, I think if you're going to do it, target agents, because agents are going to bring you way more deals than like
Yes.
just somebody
The one-off
random that
seller.
has a rough, that just inherited
sure.
a house. Unless you have like, here's all the things you need to do in probate. You know what I mean? Just talking about specific niches. But I think for the most part, it's the agents that are bringing
Majority
those
of the
deals
good
for sure.
deals we get up north. In
You get
Prescott
niche over there,
are
Chris?
from,
Is this
Yeah.
going too long?
Yeah.
You got to get
From-
back to your
from
text.
agents.
I'm literally thinking just like, am I taking too much of Brent's time, honestly?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
So
No.
that's what's going through my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, we scheduled from.
You've got like 80 text messages.
No,
And you're worried about me.
Yeah, I'm worried about you. Well, because
Here's
you
the
were
best.
nice enough to let us use your
Oh,
studio.
my honor.
Right?
This is great.
Yeah. So
I love
like,
this.
I'm just like, okay, we said from 10 to 11.
Always
and
the
I'm-
numbers guy.
And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
11:15. Is Brent over
He's
there
like-
going like,
yeah.
Bro, I will go until tomorrow. Like you know what I'm saying?
oh, we're gonna do a 24-hour.
Yeah.
What was that?
Can we
Pace
get-
has done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get old fashions to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can
I'm
drop
going to
'em
require
off?
mine in a sippy cup, please.
It's going to turn a little bit different. It's also-
Threaten us
Awesome.
with a good time.
Just no headbutting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys start arm wrestling, then we'll know it's.
That's
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna lose that
I
one.
wouldn't mind this guy.
Well,
Heck yeah.
anything else, guys? 100th episode.
100.
Wow,
What have you
yeah.
learned?
100.
No, you know what's my favorite part about podcasting is you bring on the different guys, and even
Yeah.
like we brought on the roofing guy, and he's like, he's like,
Ryan.
Ryan,
Yeah.
you see the tile roof, and he's like, if you can see a gap, it hasn't been done since 2002. I remember
Right.
that to this day. He's like, 2002 is when they made you put
The
so
bird guard or whatever.
yeah, the bird guard. So if it's older than that, like you're going to a 96 house that has a tile roof, that roof's 30 years old.
Yeah, Right.
Yeah.
Tips.
So
Yeah,
it's just
for
like the dumb little stuff that I learned from, the podcasts and,
Well, it's fun. It's fun
Yeah.
because you
It
bring
is.
in people that are professional in their little niche of whatever that is. And again, for the most part, it's all real estate related. But it just shows you how many niches there are. I mean,
Yeah.
think about even the four of us. All four of us have completely different niches. Completely different. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you've got master wholesaler, you've got coaching, you've got design, Airbnb. I mean, like we all have four different things completely. So
Yeah.
it's cool, It's cool to be able to.
We're like Voltron.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this. Jackass, I tried borrowing $160,000 from a private investor to get a hard money loan. He proposed a 10% preferred return with a 50-50 profit split after I personally guarantee the loan. Is that fair?
Mm.
If it's one of your first deals, maybe.
yeah. I mean, if he's putting up 100% of the money, I mean, it's kind of right there. But when you have your own cash, I started with just a home equity loan. I literally just started with a home equity loan. I got laid off twice in the tech downturn, and I'm like, I got my real estate license, and I got a listing in the first week, and I sold it and made $9,000. I was like, and then I drove a buyer around for 5 weeks just to have her call me because I went out of town, and she's like, "Oh, I drive by this property." I called the guy off the agent. He let me go. I was like, I am never being a buyer's agent.
Right.
So I was like, I want to get listings, but so I literally just borrowed $60,000 home equity, and that's what I started with.
Wow.
That was it. And I was borrowing money at 18%.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. Personally, I think if this is one of your first flips you've ever done, I think that's actually pretty fair.
yeah,
Because I mean, the thing is that you have to keep in mind, Jack, is you got to start somewhere. And if it's either losing this deal, I mean, if it truly is a good deal, which obviously I'm assuming that investor's already, looked at the deal, and hopefully they have. And if they have looked at it and they think it's a good deal, then I'd say move forward with it. Because again, if you're starting from zero right now and trying to at least push forward, maybe that's your only option for now. But 50% of
Well,
Yeah,
I also
50
I'm
grand or
curious,
something is pretty
Jack,
good.
if the purchase price is $160,000, if you could just get a smaller amount for the down payment and repairs, even if you are doing the repairs, and just get a regular hard money loan from
Yeah.
a hard money lender in
Yeah.
town. So I don't, unless it's like you're borrowing $160,000 for the down payment and the repairs, that's a different story. Yeah, you're gonna have to go with that. But you can get money way cheaper from a hard money lender if you're putting 20%, 30% down, 20%, really.
Well,
Yeah.
and think of the fact too, if we're all making the assumption that this is their first flip. If you're connecting with a private money lender that's actually willing to give you this amount on your first flip, it's not about getting the best deal. It's a cost of doing business to build a relationship. And as you keep performing and putting up your numbers and they get that nice juicy return, then maybe there's a little bit of negotiation that can happen
Right.
there. I can't call up my hard money lender and say, hey, I've been paying 12%. Can I pay 10 now?
Mhm.
Oh, hell no, I
Right.
can't. But with your private money lender, you might have a little bit of negotiation, but you have to earn that respect by performing. So think of it as you're going to be in and out in what, 3, 4, 5, 6 months at the very most. It's cost of doing business. You're building a relationship. It could get better from here. And if he has the sort of money his friends do too, and you'll probably have an easier time raising private money after this.
Yeah. What price range do you like right now in 2025?
I've always kind of stayed in entry level and move up price point. I know it's boring, but I just find it
is entry level. So people are all over the country, right? Is entry level median sale price, or is it 20% lower than median sale price? What would you say?
Think of median sales price and then first time home buyer price.
Right.
So for like here in Arizona, median sales price is what, like 450, 460 at this point. So I would say that and under. If you can find something in the 300 to 400 range too, those move pretty quickly.
Got it. What about luxury?
I stick to what I know. I'm not against it, but I stay in my
$5
wheelhouse.
million. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're in that.
I'm not in luxury. Is what
Right,
I'm saying.
right, yeah.
I stick to entry level for the most part.
Make sure you document everything. Do the spreadsheet. Do the befores. Do the afters. Because once you get to that third or fourth deal, then you go, because all these cheap hard money lenders, which are out there, the national ones, they want to see your last 3 deals, right? And if you've documented it well, you can probably go get like a 10-1.
What does that mean? What's 10-1 mean?
10% interest with 1 point, right? So but like obviously it's way cheaper if you're going to make 30 grand, you're going to pay an extra point for the 160, you know, so $1,600, but you're going to get to keep everything else.
Exactly.
So,
it's also great to, I've raised private money just off of social media.
Yeah.
People just DM me because they see that what I do and they have money to lend. So you never know.
For sure.
Even this guy, like you said, like you guys have said, he never puts his own money in the deal. I mean, how many do I got financed for you right now? 3, 4?
We're doing 4.
Yeah.
We're doing 4 together.
Well, you got a lot of things going on. You're developing. You're in Sedona. You're doing multifamily. You've got Watts. You've got Airbnbs. You've got regular rentals. You got 17 kids.
Right.
You got a whole backyard that's a total hazard. I don't know what you're doing with those kids in that backyard.
I don't know either.
My kids would be dead by now, without a doubt.
We've only had 1 spill so far.
Oh my gosh!
He's
building a $500,000 pool in his backyard.
Wow. Okay.
Negative edge, looking over the lake.
Heck yeah.
It's like this deep hole in the ground. He's got like toddlers toddling around. I'm seeing him on social media. I'm like, they're gonna fall in that hole. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
Your kids must have great balance. My kids would be,
no. So
head injury.
We've got all like we did the doors where like the bifolds, but I custom did them to where like the handle is very high up.
Yeah.
So it's at like 5 feet, so they can't get out there.
That's good.
So
there you go.
But we're close. We're probably a week out from the pool being able to be filled, and then we're another 3 to 4 months till the other structure's done. So
nice.
I can't wait for the first party.
Oh, I know. It's gonna be fun.
Is it crazy building that expensive of a pool and you used to also be a pool boy?
Yes, that's where
he worked at the.
That's where
at
my
the resort.
sales. My sales.
You know that?
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
I was a cabana boy.
He was a cabana boy.
Okay.
That's
where
where my sales
at?
started at the Hyatt Gainey.
At
Ranch.
the Hyatt.
Okay.
Yeah, Hyatt Gainey. Yeah.
You're
I was
slinging
a
drinks.
bartender for 5 years there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slinging drinks, bringing towels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a lifeguard in the summer and a valet in the
Were
winter
you? Oh,
at the
heck
Hyatt
yeah.
Gainey.
No
You were
way.
No way.
Yeah, this
That's
would have
so funny.
been 90 and 91.
Okay, mine was 2008.
A little bit of difference.
Yeah.
Mine was 2008, but yeah, just pina coladas left and right.
Yeah.
You can swing
I
drinks,
used
you can
to
swing
lifeguard
some
at the
deals.
Yes.
So they have a slide there, right? I used to lifeguard the
Oh,
slide, and I just sit back as people get a little buzzed up. They start swimming down. You grab them by the ankle.
Oh
I
man,
can totally see you doing that.
that's a fun job.
Yeah.
Good time for sure.
So it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're excited.
All right.
Heck
100
yeah.
depth too. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got 11:30.
Yeah.
Hour
Nice.
25. Heck
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Have we
Yeah.
really been
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We've been
They've
chatting
been
about
flying.
real estate for an hour and a half.
I
Yeah.
love it.
What do you
Yes.
got going on? What do you got going on? What do you got going on? Let the people know.
I'm just wholesaling houses. That's it. Oh, I built a fund. I mentioned that. That was a fun experience. Yeah. So I just built a fund. It'll be open in like
Oh, nice.
7 to 14 days. Yeah. Good time.
Love to find out
Any
more about
what's
that.
going on with the RIA?
We take off the summer.
Summer, right.
So actually, if you have any interest, I just, I've done the 3-day seminars, and I was like, I was literally on Friday, and this is difference between some people and me. I was like, I was texting Dina, and I was like, we don't really have anything going on. We got Tracy's flip school next week, and I was like, I feel like she's doing lunch and learn for the Phoenix RIA next week, and I was like, I just like the momentum. I like the Phoenix RIA, and I was like, I was on Friday, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna do a summer wholesale. My 12 classes. I think I'm just gonna throw them out there on Facebook Live every Monday at 10 o'clock.
Nice.
So I started. I did a mindset video yesterday and just put it out there, and I'm going to do that all summer long. Just give me something to do on Monday.
Exactly. I like that. That's awesome. Not too much. We're gonna be up north a lot for summer with the kids. Took on some new projects up there.
How can people follow you
on Instagram?
What is it?
Luke_RO_.
It is definitely worth the follow, guys. Get your phones out right now and check that out.
Some of the
projects are incredible.
Well, the projects, but what about some of the entertaining?
Well,
videos?
Of course, yeah.
We do some fun stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah. So just probably that for the summer. Kind of interesting. I may have had somebody who reached out about potentially purchasing my Airbnb portfolio.
Nice.
So gonna look into it a little bit. It would be very hard for me to do because that's like my babies. Like those are the past 7 years have been literally
till he sees the paycheck.
every dollar of what I've made for the most part over the last 7 years has gone into, well, not my pool, and then also this Airbnb portfolio. So somebody's interested in it. So we'll see if we end up making a deal or not.
Nice.
But it would be hard. It would be like emotional to let them go because those are like I said, those are my babies. Don stayed there. He stayed at some before, so yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very cool.
Tell them about Flip School. Let's go.
Yeah, so we're doing, and thank you, by the way. It's been such an honor to become a part of this. Kristen had invited me on. I don't remember exactly which episode, but to be a part of this, and now we're at 100 is just
probably like 80ish, right?
80ish, I think. Yeah, because we've been connected for so long, and so this was just truly an honor of mine to be here and celebrate with you guys and be a part of it. So we're doing a lunch and learn next week for the resilient rehabber. If you're interested in anything that has to do with how do I do rehabbing through whatever the market's doing. And I love construction in part because no matter what the market is doing, it's applicable, right? So we'll be talking about different strategies that you can apply to still make money. Other than that, I've had my long-term rentals, I have a midterm rental, Airbnb, I have Flip School, I do design, and I'm also a licensed general contractor. So a few things here and there.
I didn't know you were GC.
I told you that.
That's amazing.
All right, so you're the guest. So tell us what you got going on.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome, by the way. Are you going to live stream that?
Pardon?
Are you going to live stream your event?
You can ask these guys. We are not. No, I'm getting.
You guys need to start doing that because there's more people than just in Arizona. You know that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we could live stream it on my Instagram or something.
Yeah, something. It's StreamYard. Get a streaming camera. Go bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Open
I
it
was
up to
at
everybody.
Colby's. He did a social media event in Miami, and I saw the thing. He's like, I texted him. He's like, come on down. So actually, for the Phoenix RIA, we have a TV with a mount on top with a camera.
Yep.
And so it's just like this. The camera sits on top. It points at the speaker. The TV, you can see the speaker, and it's going to live stream. So Phoenix RIA will be live streamed in the future.
Awesome.
Just because I went to some event and I was like, well, that's easy.
Right,
it's a stand. Cool. I got the stand. I got a TV. I got the camera. All I got to do is set it right here. And
that's
like
it.
Christmas.
That's it.
Okay, actually, where is the camera right here?
It's behind that screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's a teleprompter so that we can read what people comment.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I got a live show tomorrow. I do a live show every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And it's going to be an awesome show tomorrow. Do not miss this. I'm going to give you all the updates on what's going on with the cold calling laws and how to effectively go out and find a deal this week, not next week, not the week after, but this week, how to go out and have really good quality conversations with people that actually want to talk to you. So
there we go.
How about that sizzle?
That's important.
And
I like that.
And I've watched a couple of his. I've watched a couple of your. I surf through there and watch them or listen to them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You and guys, you can check it out at Wholesale Hotline. Is just all audio, and Wholesaling Inc. is the 2 podcasts or the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. That's it.
There you go.
Love
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, thanks for having us.
I know. Yeah.
We're usually all
It's an honor.
on our
Heck
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should.
I love it.
It's almost like we're professional now.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, I mean, come on, look at this backdrop and everything too.
It's 100 episodes.
Seriously,
You know what I mean?
seriously.
Most people don't get past like the first 10 or 20.
Right.
You guys went a full 100.
Yeah, I was at that part of that event last week. Was like, if you got to 21, if you got to 20, you were in the top 2%. If you got to 21, you were in the top 1% of podcasts.
Yeah.
And we're the whole. And I got to admit, like, at times it's like, you have somebody lined up and they're like, oh, I had something else come up. And I was just like, all right. Then I'm texting Luke, like, what are we going to talk about? It's just you and I tomorrow. And then he's got 17 kids. So it's just like, and that was, honestly, that was the introduction to Tracy is like, hey, Tracy, like, he's got 17 kids. And
Tracy has 0 kids. This could work out great.
And so Luke's consistency isn't always on par with mine. So it's just like, get a third person.
For sure.
So, but
it's not 17, okay? It's 14.
You got a bunch of white-haired troll dolls running around everywhere. Everywhere I see you, there's just troll dolls and hair and the white-haired pipes.
When we go out in public, it's wild, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you one thing, that there will be a 200.
Yeah, good.
So,
Good. Awesome.
Well, appreciate it, Brent.
Here's to 200 then.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, we love you guys. We'll see you
Thanks
soon.
for joining. See ya.